Alright, so Animated Adventures updated for the first time since release and added a new money unit for the first time ever. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it is Nami. You get it from the brand new Battle Pass. If you evolve it, it actually turns into a farm unit. And this farm unit is incredibly interesting. And I'm going to say it right now. I don't recommend using this farm unit outside of like infinites, and I'll get into why in a moment. But this money unit is incredibly different than all of the other money units in the fact that it deals damage, which is amazing. This is the only money unit in the game that deals damage right now, and it has a total of 3,300 DPS with no trait. You can have 3 of them together, so the DPS is incredibly low. But it's a farm unit, so you're not using it for the damage, you're using it for the money, which is pretty random. Essentially how it works is each round, each of the Namis I've placed down will set a bounty on an individual unit, which you can see right there just popped up. And depending on the upgrade level of the Nami is how big the bounty is. And yes, it can be put on the bosses too, which is pretty interesting. Another additional thing, it cannot be sold. You cannot sell this unit, so make sure you place it smart. You can actually get damage on it because you can't sell it, so you can't replace it. Now, we are going to be comparing Nami to Bulma and Speedwagon, which are both the only other money units in the game. And overall, I'm going to say that I'm probably still going to be using Bulma and Speed card for most of my rounds instead of Nami. But let's go ahead and get into why. So here's a spreadsheet that I have showing the upgrade cost, how much money the upgrade gives you, and how many rounds it takes you for you to make profit on the unit, which essentially just means, well, use Speedwagon, for example. You spend 5,500 on the Speedwagon to place it. You get 200 per round. So that would mean to actually make money from how much you spent, it would take you 3 rounds before you actually start to make profit on the Speedwagon. So that's essentially what I mean by profit. Now, Nami's is a little bit weird because Nami actually gives a random amount of money for each bounty she gives to a unit. 1 unit per round, each Nami gives 1. So these numbers might be a little bit wrong, so do keep that in mind, but they should mostly be correct, because for the last upgrade on Nami, I have listed for 3,500. I've seen it as low as 3,000 and as high as 4,000, but it's honestly really hard to test it, because whenever these units kill stuff in bulk, it groups it all in one number. So it said 48 there, and then it says 600 there, because it killed a whole bunch of units at the exact same time. So it groups it all together, so it's really hard to actually see how much money I'm making on each of the bounties. Like I said, 3,700 there, and it killed a bounty and a bunch of other units at the exact same time. So I'm not quite sure how much of that was the bounty and how much of that was the rest of the units. So really hard for me to calculate. So these numbers are estimates for how much it makes, not the exact amount like it is for Bulma and Speedwagon. So do keep that in mind. But now I'm going to go into each type of round and what money units I'd recommend using. The first one being 15 wave rounds, which is mainly portals like the Winter Portal, Chainsaw Man Portal, the brand new One Punch Man portals, and also the story modes. They are 15 waves, and the only money unit I recommend using in that is the singular Speedwagon. Only use Speedwagon in those rounds instead of Bulma and Nami. And the reason why is, yes, both of these units both make more money than Speedwagon. But I have 2 different reasons why Speedwagon is better. First of all, upgrade cost overall is significantly lower than all of the other upgrades. Also, the total is much lower for all 3 Speedwagons than it is for 1 Bulma or all 3 of the Namis. So overall, Speedwagon is much cheaper, which works much better on those shorter rounds where you make overall less money. But additionally, you're able to split your money between damage upgrades and upgrading your money unit. So instead of dumping like 7,000 cash onto 1 Bulma upgrade or like 3,000 cash on 1 Nami upgrade, you can spend 1,750 and then dump the rest of your money into building up your damage even more. So overall, for 15 wave rounds, I recommend using Speedwagon. Now, the next type of round is the 20 wave rounds. This is normally for secret portals and the occasional special round that might also be 20 waves. Now for these rounds, I'm going to suggest a Bulma Speedwagon combo for the exact same reason. First of all, you can split your money early game between Speedwagon upgrades and your damage, but also overall, it's much cheaper to use the Bulma and Speedwagon than it is to use Bulma and Nami, who overall would, yes, give more money, but it's a lot of money to upgrade Nami. Look at that total. That is very expensive. And the other reason is that Nami has a really high wave amount to actually make profit on this unit. Because if you're to spam a Nami all the way up to max level, it would still take you 7 waves, roughly, for you to make money. So while yes, this does have the potential to give you even more money than a Bulma, I don't recommend using it for rounds that aren't infinites. Because just looking at this right here, even if you don't upgrade it all the way, you're not making that much money compared to just upgrading a Bulma, because you can get a Bulma maxed out by, if you really try, you can get your Bulma and Speedwagon maxed out by like wave 12, which leaves you 8 rounds to make profit, which is more than enough to actually make a ton of money. But when it comes to Nami, you have to be done before wave 13 or you don't make money, and that goes for all of the Namis. So if you want to make the total amount of money that passes Bulma, you have to dump 66,000 cash before wave 13, which basically gives you no money to actually put into upgrading literally any other unit. And it does hit airs, I don't think, does it? I don't think it hits airs. Oh, it does hit airs. Okay, that's cool. But it doesn't even deal that much damage anyway. It only deals like 3,000 DPS, so it's not even that good of a damage unit. So overall, I don't recommend using Nami for like 90% of the stuff in this game. It's really only worth using in the infinites, and even then, it might not be the best for later rounds. I mean, it could be, because later rounds you don't technically need money, but considering the fact that you have to kill units to make the money, on later rounds where it's much harder to kill units, the money will technically come in a little bit slower. But that shouldn't be a problem then. By then, all your stuff should be maxed out anyway. But yes, for 15 wave rounds, only use Speedwagon. For 20 wave rounds, use a Bulma Speedwagon combo for 2 money units to make the most money possible. And then for infinites, you can either use Bulma by herself, Speedwagon Bulma together, or Nami by herself. Maybe mixed with Speedwagon or Bulma, I don't know. If you want to try to use 5 damage slots, you could potentially just use Nami. But honestly, unless you're using uniques, I'd probably just do a Bulma Nami combo for the infinite, so you can actually make enough money to upgrade your units. Especially since Nami just kind of drains all of your money to be able to actually use it. The only time I can see Nami actually being super helpful is maybe leaderboard rounds, where you're trying to get the most damage possible, because it gives a little bit more DPS, 9,000 total across all 3 of them, and it has a potential chance to make you more money than a Bulma, which you're normally just bringing a Bulma anyway to leaderboard rounds. I don't know, that's just me. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I think Nami is an excellent unit, but only for really doing infinites, to be honest. But like, even then, it's only really making 3,000 more yen around. So is it really worth spending an extra 40,000 for that slight increase? You are making more damage though, I suppose. I don't know. I feel like if the unit was either cheaper or way stronger on the damage, it'd be way more worth using. But for right now, it's definitely not the best.